What's up, Doc?
Hey, Dr. Funkenstein.
What's happening, baby?
Oh, yeah, this is great. I
How's
want to
it
know.
going, man?
Yeah, I want to know, can we get him to sing You Raised Me Up Tonight? You think he'll sing? He says he sings. It's not in public.
Well, we can't tell him exactly who it's gonna be, but we're gonna let him know that a little float of the vibrato tonight.
Yeah, since he believes in radio frequencies, I'm thinking like, this is perfect. And I got him excited about that.
Absolutely, he's supposed to be. He's
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
be fluoractat, super rubely flap tabulous. That's what he's supposed to be. All right,
Incredible. Incredible.
getting everything set up right now. I'm gonna put this up right here so I can see y'all. Y'all beautiful people.
Yeah.
There we go. Hello,
Oh,
hello, hello, beautiful
oh,
people.
look at that. Oh, look at that. This is great.
Y'all enjoy. I know everybody says they enjoy my hair, so I said, let me go ahead and put a little something together so
Huh.
that they can see me. They can see me right. So let's see. All right, there we go. All right. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secret Chord. I am your host, Daniel, the Funkenstein Morgan, and this is Dr. Strange Insane in the Membrane, Dr. Gordon Chu, and we are here to talk to you about the Secret Chord, things that we just have a conversation between friends. And we do it all over again every Thursday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Today we got a great show for you. We're talking about radio waves and how it affects the human anatomy. So you want to stick and stay and don't go nowhere. Be right here. We'll be right back right after this commercial.
Cut! All right, let's take it again. Ah! Cut it!
I have what you need.
Love at first sip. Every time.
Well, there you have it.
I love that commercial.
I'd like to thank old Baba Tunde, which is a great friend of mine. He's also a horse whisperer. We won't talk about that right now. We'll talk about that on another show. But Oba Babatunde, one of the greatest actors that I've ever known, next to Bill Duke and a few others, Bill Cobbs and so forth and so on. But they all stand in the chariots of many in the golden stables. So today, Doc, what we got? What are we talking about, man? I've been doing my research. I'm not supposed to be on this thing in my ear for no more than 50 minutes a day. That's impossible.
That right? Isn't
How
that
am I
crazy?
supposed to do that?
Right.
50 minutes
Exactly.
a day? Come on, Doc.
Right.
Come on, Doc.
So I got two of these. One which actually calls out, and the other one which is fake. It actually doesn't do any calls. It's only Wi-Fi connected. So that way,
That's the one that you
Right.
use. You know, you put that one away. You use that one and you put that next to your bed when you're ready to go
Yeah.
to sleep at night. When your wife is asking you who's calling you.
right. So just so people know, they're both connected. So I click on them. They both have it working. I don't have to one doesn't have a phone number that connects through a phone thing. So it only connects through the Wi-Fi. So I'm only limiting the Wi-Fi to coming in, and then the other one isn't even 5G. The 5G one is not connected to make phone calls. Only the 4G one's connected to make phone calls, so I can limit the exposure. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna start sending you letters, so just expect my replies next week. I'll let you know. I'm gonna write like we used to do back in the day.
All this stuff we're talking about requires a disclaimer, and people will think what the heck? And I want to leave you with this little phrase that I'm going to leave. I gave it to Theodore, and it is this: rabbits munch in very unusually expensive gardens. 7 words. Rabbits munch in very unusually expensive gardens. And how does this work? Rabbit stands for radio waves, size of a football field. Rabbits. Munch. M for munch. Munch is for microwaves. So your microwaves have EMF, have those waves. It's just like a radio wave, except it's shorter. Rabbits munch. In means infrared. To turn on your television screen, with the remote, that's infrared. Infrared. So rabbits munch in. Very means visible wave, like the rainbow, color of the rainbow. So the color of the rainbow from infrared, you go to red, green, so Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, right, violet, Roy G. Biv. We learned that in grammar school. And then from that, rabbits munchins, very unusual. Why is it unusual? Unusual U for ultraviolet. Ultraviolet from the sun. There's A, B, and C. And then unusually, rabbits munch in very unusually expensive. Expensive. B for X-ray. When you go to dentist, they got to put those lead things about you because if they shoot you with those rays, you might not have children. So X-rays. And then last one is the Incredible Hulk, which is the garden. Unusually expensive gardens. Gardens stands for gamma rays. That's what created Incredible Hulk. David Banner. He shot himself with gamma rays and started getting angry. They are short and powerful. Right? They're not the size of football fields. They're an opposite side. They're really, really short and they're really, really powerful, and they can mutate you. Mutate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
I hope if they mutate me, they mutate me in all the right places. That's all I got to say.
That's right.
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
that was I'm gonna have to write that down in the expensive gardens. My garden, you're gonna have to put something in it so that it can become expensive, so that I can tell you that I have an expensive garden, because I don't have a garden at all. So with that being said, I want to if you're ready, I'm excited about this guest that's on our show today. He is amazing. He is in aeronautics. He hasn't been to space. He wants to go to space. But he's an amazing man. He's a theologian among many, a champion among us friends. And I would like to introduce you to the young man, the great and fabulous Mr. Theodore.
Wonderful. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Mr. J, man, you in outer space already, bro. I didn't know you was already there. Look at that.
This is my space capsule.
Space. So what planet you came from, man, today? I hope it was Uranus. I hope it wasn't that one.
He comes from Earth. Well, you and I aren't from Earth.
Gleazy
It's a pleasure to have you today.
584G. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
Wow.
It's a pleasure
We're very
to be
excited
here.
to have you today, man. We're very excited to
Thank
have you
you.
today. It's amazing. We had a great conversation before the show, and I said, "Wait, we got to hold that. We got to save that for the show. Let's wait. We got to get to the people." So before we do that, just tell them a little bit about you, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll jump into it. So the floor is yours, sir.
I'm an Air Force veteran. The Air Force taught me everything I needed to know about aircraft. I specialized in hydraulic systems. Hydraulics are the tubular systems, the fuel systems, life support, oxygen. When I finished with the Air Force, I went into the defense industry and excelled in that environment and did a bunch of things for the defense industry that we really can't talk about during the Cold War. Some defense budget cuts came along. I went into computers, stayed there for a bunch of years, and then I became an inventor. I went into nonprofit, and here we are today.
Wow. As an inventor, tell us about some of these inventions, man. You're an inventor. Don't say too much because we don't have no NDA sign, but just a sizzle, little bit, just a little. And please say it in English that we can all understand, because I'm no path to great education.
the one that fits into the discussion is one we call GigaSpot, where it utilizes existing technologies in some unique and innovative ways. Most people have heard of internets, but not many people have heard of intranets. And what GigaSpot does
what
is
it
allows
called? Intranet?
Intranet is a private version of the internet. Intranets is how Delta Airlines has employees in 100 different countries, but only has one payroll department. It's how Walmart can have 12,900 stores in 185 different countries, but they only have one human resources department. They do it through a private network.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question. So can we use the intranet to infiltrate the Federal Reserve?
The Federal Reserve has their own intranet. And that's why they have an intranet, because the only way you get into an intranet is if the intranet system administrator assigns you an IP address login and an ID. That's not necessary.
Okay.
And this is why those companies
so I gotta
use
go
them.
around the other way.
Yeah, you got to go to the front door.
Gotcha.
But this
Okay.
is
That's
how-
called the chokehold. That's what that's called.
Exactly. This is how Exxon can have a gas station on every street corner, and the gas pump doesn't care whose card you stick in. It doesn't care what you have in your wallet. It'll get money out your account faster than you can. And no one's taking Exxon's money. Those intranets are very, very secure. Those are what they use to run the ATM machines. So people aren't hacking into intranet. So, but we want to use an intranet, which is really secure, to hack people, to log people into a Wi-Fi environment that provides them connectivity to a 100% hack-proof environment that rules out the Russians and rules out the Iranians and all the extraneous people we don't want as part of our network.
Will that rule out my ex-wife?
It could.
You have an ex-wife?
No,
A lot of variables in that
I'm talking
equation.
for other. I'm talking for other people. I'm talking about other people. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Just curious.
You're
just
asking,
curious.
you're asking for a friend, I guess.
Where did that come
Yeah,
from?
I'm just curious. Curious minds
right.
want to know. You know what I mean? They want to know.
Yeah.
You know? You might get a knock on the door, a phone call from somewhere. You know.
Right, right.
But no, that's
So, yeah,
pretty
the
amazing.
technology-
That's pretty awesome when you really think about it. Yeah.
Well, the best applications for it will be in the philanthropic environment where we can provide the connectivity for our students, to connect them to both their parents, first of all, their clergy, their instructors, their counselors, their therapists, their friends, and the police if they need to, on a secure environment where we can be comfortable that they're not being tracked, they're not being hacked, and they're not being profiled.
Nice.
This is where the technology comes in handy, using an intranet that's hack-proof, such that we can secure our children, we can secure our homes, we can secure our communities more effectively with networks that are free from the internet's what we call cyber thugs.
Wow. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome. That's amazing. So when are you releasing this technology? No. Don't say it. Let.
Well, we're entertaining some discussions with some individuals in Guatemala about using this technology to
Nice.
provide Wi-Fi services for several thousand of the schools down there. So it's
nice.
still
Well,
in the
I
discussion
pray that
stages.
all of that goes well. I pray all
Well,
of that
thank you.
goes well. I think there's a small
Thank you.
delay. There's a small delay here, but I pray all that goes well. You know, more power to you. May they continue to keep that moving forward for you. You know, and
Thank you.
I think
Thank
that's an amazing. I think that will bring comfort to a lot of especially our community, as you know, as a minority. It'll bring a lot of comfort to us as well. You know, knowing that we have a secure line to reach our family members at any given time. You know, and
Well, one of the
in
missions of
regards
my
to coming home
nonprofit-
from school.
Yeah, one of the missions of my
Right.
nonprofit is specifically to bridge the digital divide, and in any way that we can, in any place that we can. That includes other countries, that includes other cultures, in any way that we can bridge that gap. You know, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really awesome. Now I got a big question. So
Sure.
our conversation tonight is radioactive. This is some radioactive stuff, and it's tearing us apart. It's tearing people's brains apart. It's tearing their nervous systems apart. It's tearing their minds apart. People, yeah, I've heard somebody said when their phone dies, they said, "I'm dead." You ever heard somebody say that? Oh, I'm dying. I'm dead. Oh man, I'm dead. You know, and they're ready to go find a charger, and they're like, I'm dying. It's like, what are you talking about? Your phone is dying. People are saying they're dying. That's how they're so connected to these phones. They're so brainwashed. The tissues in their mind is fried, bro. You remember,
Well,
the
there's also
commercial back in the day when they said, "This is your brain, put it in a skillet and the fries."
Right.
That's the way I feel about. That's the way I feel about this.
Well,
Cell
it's the most common form of hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and many people use this self-hypnosis as a rationale for using cell phones as a connective device, and the brain will then delegate a lot of brain functions off to the device. There was a time when we used to remember people's phone numbers, but nowadays nobody remembers anyone's phone numbers because we don't have to. And the brain has been conditioned to be lazy in that respect and offload a lot of brain functions to the devices that we hold in our hands, which is why when someone says my phone dies, then I'm dying with it, because a piece of who I am has been bestowed into this phone, unfortunately.
Wow. I still remember when I was a child in New Orleans, my number 504-948-7677. I still remember that.
The
Now, if you ask me
brain can do it.
what my grandmother's number is now, I have no idea.
Your brain can do it. It's the question that it doesn't have to. And your brain is wonderful about choosing between what it does and doesn't have to do.
Right.
That's another show about self-discipline.
Right. I thought it was a little crooked. I was a little crooked just now. Anyway, so now, Dr. Strange, Dr. Gorshoot, what does the science say in regards to this radioactive technology? Well, not radioactive, these radio frequencies. You know, you got
our
the
show
board in
is
the back. So
radioactive.
I had to come to you and talk to you about numbers and X's and O's.
Our show is radioactive. It's radioactive because people are going to say, last week when Petri was talking about corn, and I say what corn causes inflammation. What the phone now, the phone. Yeah, well, Theodore, I have two of these. I have a 5G phone right here, bad stuff, and I don't have it connected, so I can't even dial out. This is only connected to my Wi-Fi in my house. Now, the other phone I have here, this one, see, both are on. This one is a really thick phone because I can still change out my battery because it still runs on 4G. It's an older phone. I can change out my battery and I can swap it. And this one on 4G, I have it to be able to dial out. And I keep them like that, and I don't tell anybody. I'm only telling you tonight on this show that, yes, this stuff actually affects you because on the EMF spectrum, electromagnetic frequency spectrum, I have a little jingle for you. It's rabbits munch in very unusually expensive gardens, right? And I gotta think science before I can. I'm a scientist that came up with the thing so I could talk to sixth graders about this. It's rabbit stands for radio waves, the size of football fields, and then we got after radio rabbits we got munch. Munch is for microwaves, and we have one of those in every house. And then we got what? Rabbits munch in for infrared. That's what you do to turn on your television screen, right? Remote control. And then you talk about in very is for these seven. Very is for visible waves. And then that's Roy G. Biv. You got the colors of the rainbow, 7 of them. And then after visible, you got the rabbits munching very unusual. So you got ultraviolet, which is the unusual. Ultraviolet, the sun rays. There's 3 kinds, A, B, and C. And that stuff, causes cancer. And then you say, well, wait a minute. And the microwave makes the food hot by vibrating the molecules in the water. And then you got number 6, right? What is that? That's expensive. X for expensive. Expensive is X-ray. You go to a dental office and you're going to get X-rays. They put this lead thing over you, and they cover your body parts.
Yeah.
Why is that? And then they leave the room. When they press the button, they leave the room. They leave the room with you inside. So that's part of the EMF. So that's number 6. And then you remember the Incredible Hulk, David Banner. He turned himself green, right? Well, that's gamma rays. That's the garden, right? What a garden, right? Rabbits munch in very unusually expensive gardens. Gardens for gamma rays. Short, but lots of energy. And pow, short. So it doesn't travel very far, but it doesn't have to because it penetrates really deep. And so that is the EMF spectrum in a little jingle. And, we have our expert here, and you're thinking like cell phones. We still call them cell phones, but they're really no longer just like they have more power than the rocket ships we had going into the moon. Some people don't even believe we ever went to the moon. So Theodore, I want you to tell the audience, like, this stuff, there's papers written out there. There's papers written in other countries about this stuff. And yet, we're using this stuff. Is there anything we need to be? Am I crazy or am I crazy?
The subject is a bit more complex than that.
Yes, there we go.
What you'll find is that the cell phones themselves have more than one kind of radio inside, using more than one type of radio frequency and more than one spectrum. Your phone has at least 6
is it
different
bad or
kinds.
is it good? We got little kids, we got adults, people who are not scientists, not engineers. Is it bad or good? Is it good? Is it 100% good? Can I talk on this thing for 10 hours?
The question is more convoluted than you probably understand. You have a Bluetooth radio, you have a cellular radio, you also have a Wi-Fi radio that all produce different types of waves at different rates, and they have different effects at different times with different rates of exposure. So you can't just say there's one answer for 3 different types of problems.
See, this sounds a lot like me before I got trained by Dr. Funkenstein. See, if I talk like that, I'm off the show. See, he did code. That's code for not good. Right? That was code for not good. See, if I gave Theodore, give me one answer, he'll say good. If I say, give me 2 words, not good, and then 3 words, he'll say not good enough. It's not good enough, right? Because if you let him give more sentences, that's code for not good. It can't be good, right? So, right.
But
changed me.
your point is valid, though. What we're talking about is not just a single type of radio wave saturation of the brain. We're talking about 3 different kinds of radio waves saturating the brain simultaneously, which is a completely different subject I think is being missed.
Right. No, I love this because Dr. Funkenstein changed me. I'm a changed man. That means not good at all. So
Well, one of the
I'm sitting in the microwave.
A few years ago, the discussion got so heated that Congress asked NASA to do an assessment of what cell phones would do to the aircraft prior to takeoff. And if you remember correctly, when you fly nowadays, they do ask you to turn your phone to what they now built into what's called an airplane mode. And the rationale behind that is the complexity of the signals being transmitted by your phone are significant enough, but rather than trying to decipher through them all, it's easier to turn the dang thing off.
That's code for if we're traveling to the Bermuda Triangle.
Wait,
we all turn
I'm supposed to turn my cell phone off on the airplane?
Uh-oh.
I'm supposed to turn my phone off on the airplane?
Now you tell me. Right, yeah. Well, the phones have a thing called...
I've been flying for 20 years and never knew I had to turn off my cell phone.
And there are people who will tell you the same thing, that the interference between a cell phone and an aircraft's avionics is questionable. I'm one of them. I don't think there's an impact.
We're questionable. Questionable.
But the end answer was to err on the side of caution.
That means that they didn't spend enough funding on it because they don't need to spend funding. They already have certain data. And
there was also some room for growth in the industry where there's a difficult time to assess what new device may come along next year. So rather than changing the regulations on a regular basis, they said the cleanest one that would last the longest is to just turn the things off or ask the manufacturers through Part 15 of the FCC regulations that design these components specifically to respond to the need by providing an airplane mode.
What the sentence? What kind of sentence was that? Right? That's the right. That's the type of sentence that you had me changed. I'm a changed man. I don't speak in long sentence like that anymore.
My mouth has been open the whole time. I think I'm dry. I need a drink.
I need a drink.
Okay, so let me get this. So let me just break it down. We have all different kind of radio frequencies around us all the time. So I'm literally just sitting in the hot box.
Those are the rabbits.
And my brain is frying every day.
Lots of
Is
rabbits.
that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a radio frequency.
And we're supposed to be okay with this?
You don't really have a whole lot of choice.
Lord, no wonder.
You don't have a whole lot of choice. If you're sitting
No
in
wonder
an
why my
apartment building,
creativity comes up at night.
well, yeah. Depending on where you are, if when you walk into a hospital, you're subjected to dozens and dozens of separate Wi-Fi frequencies simultaneously all the time.
So should we buy a house near a hospital? Should we buy a house like when there's like those high voltage lines and we buy houses near those? Is that bad?
That's been a discussion going on for a long time, and there's been no conclusive evidence that says if your child grew up underneath the high tension power line, that your kid's going to walk funny.
But is there inconclusive evidence of that either? No.
There's a lot of inconclusive evidence. Yes, a lot of anecdotal evidence as well. The problem is when you blend the anecdotal evidence with a little bit of non sequitur logic, you end up with a lot of sensational stories, and a lot of subjective analysis, but you don't end up with a lot of fact.
Does Area 51
I don't
exist?
need all that. I have sensational stories every day. I just have
this is sensational right there. This is Area 50. You have arrived in Area 51 tonight. No.
I don't need the power cord to tell me that.
Area 52.
I'm good. I'm like that every day.
Yeah.
So wait, okay, so let me break this down again. So my cell phone, my TV, my clock, my laptop, my lights, my building, my car, the streets with the street lights, everything is a walking furnace.
And you missed the most important one, didn't you? Yeah, right. The screen you stare into most, your phone.
The blue screen. Why is it blue?
There are blue light emissions. Well, there are several different types of light being emitted by your screen that do a variety of different things to your eyes, depending on your age. And the content also has an impact on the physiology of your eye by the brain's desire to collect data in real time. What this does is it forces the pediatric eye to reduce the blink rate, where they stare at the screen so long that their eyes don't get the proper blink rate. They don't get the proper moisture saturation, the proper oxygenation process, the proper cleansing. So for a pediatric eye that's still growing, that they stare at the screen too long, they can run into some optical problems.
Some optical problems.
Well, yeah, they end up with eye drops, they end up with optical issues. They get a thing called presbyopia. where the distension of the ocular socket begins to be a problem for them at a much earlier age. They begin to have to wear glasses and take eye drops every day. This is happening on a regular basis. Which is why, yeah, the most dangerous one of them all is the one you stare into the most. It's the light bulb called your cell phone screen. And for a pediatric eye, it's very dangerous. The sad part is a lot of parents hand their children a cell phone as a
Okay, so I got
pacifier.
it. So this is yes.
Oh,
That's crazy. So this is my thing. You have changed my life. I will not go to the hospital and talk to a doctor that wears glasses. Period.
well, good luck with that.
Because I will probably get the wrong diagnosis because their brain is fried and their eyes can't see me.
Especially if he's wearing a headset and talking on his cell phone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you got to watch out for those
Don't
printers
believe
now.
nothing I'm saying.
Those printers are now broadcasting a Wi-Fi signal too.
So let me ask you, Theodore, how about
Yeah,
Bluetooth?
I got
Is
one
there
right
any
here.
problems
And it was
with putting the
so easy to
Bluetooth
put-
inside your ear?
And there's where your question earlier was what I was talking about. This is a much more convoluted subject than just holding a phone to your ear, because Bluetooth is another entirely different spectrum. And just like cellular is one spectrum, Bluetooth is another one, and Wi-Fi is the third one. All three of them have different rates and different exposures and different this and different that. They're just not the same.
And they're all under rabbits, right? Rabbits, they're radio waves.
They're all coming out of your phone.
They're all different types of rabbits. We got the white hair, we got the white rabbit, we've got the purple rabbit. You know, these are all different rabbits. That's not even microwaves.
And you know, the challenge comes in proximity. It's called exposure propinquity. It's the distance between you and the transmitting antenna and the particular organ in question. And the challenge is right now the most common organ exposed in the propinquite environment is the brain.
Which contains your eyes, your ears.
Huh.
Yeah, and a couple other important things.
Right. Now, my research
Well,
is about
what I'm
how
gonna do.
cells.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Chu.
My research is about how cells can be affected and healed if you speak to them, right? And you speak to them and you let the vibrations hit the cells, but it has to be your voice. These are our findings, is that it has to be your voice. Now, I've worked on graphene. I've worked on all kinds of things. You can look up all that stuff. But what my research is, some low-cost healing, low-cost, is when you sing to yourself, and it has to be your voice, and you sing in vibrato. So if I start talking like this to myself, then what happens is it will stimulate your cells, and like moving your thumb, you know, it's almost like light speed. It just moves. So if I use guided imagery and I focus on my liver and I do it, and I use particular kinds of music like gospel, then what happens is, as long as I'm a believer, then Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Sound, makes sense. But if I'm not a believer, then there's music like You Raise Me Up, right? When you raise me up, you see, if instead of singing it when I am down and oh my soul so weary, you actually sing it when I am down and oh my soul so weary. If you do that, right, then, and that's what I want Theodore to do tonight, right, with us, right, and Dr. Funkenstein, and you do those vibrations, right, your cells actually feel it, right? It actually feels it. And how is it?
Do you know why?
Why? Yes, I want to know why.
There's other research that talks about a thing called binaural beats. Are you familiar?
Binaural beats. See,
Binaural beats.
Dr. Funkenstein has removed all these complex words from my vocabulary, and now I'm a saved man. I am a saved man.
Binaural beats are created by putting one musical note in your left ear and a different musical note in your right ear. And when you hear the two notes simultaneously, it creates a third note that's only heard inside your head.
He's talking about these waves and how, you know, you could get averages, and you know, I'm a saved man, so I'm gonna avoid doing that to you. I'll just speak about how you vibrate your voice and these vibrations, right?
Well, are you familiar with a subject called reflexology?
I cannot say yes, because if I say yes, I am not going to be the co-host.
I know reflexology.
Because what you're talking about is the impact of acoustic
I know
impact on the
reflexology.
reflexology environment.
You said it, Dr. Funkenstein. I didn't say anything. I got my porcupine brush here. This is from bristles of a boar, and I, you can use it to scratch your back. It's pretty good,
Reflexology uses the body's network. So physical stimulation in one part of the body can give you results in a different part of the body. But when you add acoustics to that same network, you can get responses to specific vibrations and sympathetic vibrations in different parts of the body based on vocal inflections. I don't see a problem with that.
He didn't see a problem with that. I've been validated and vindicated. See, basically, it says sing now with a vibration.
The challenge is going to be to quantify that and in a manner that you can make it into an organized a set of sequences that can be actually useful. Otherwise, it's pretty much at random.
Yeah, well, that's why the AI program at Harvard is working on that. Where they look at the vibrations, they look at how it works, and they look at these individuals. See, the cost of medicine constantly rising is a problem. Is a problem for all of us. Why can people not find healing? Well, because
not for the drug manufacturers, it's not a problem for them.
No. So we're looking for this. See, I'm across Dr. Funkenstein and I. We are a cross between Indiana Jones and Avengers. That's what we are. We're a cross between Avengers and Indiana Jones. And what we're doing is we're looking for these solutions that are outliers. And there's people like yourself, Theodore. How has it been? How are you when you're working on these types of things out there? Like, how do they treat you? Are you a rich, wealthy man?
No, I get treated like an outsider.
Wow.
There are some of the things that I'm doing are unique enough where there'll be naysayers. I expect that. But we're and one of my inventions, we're not breaking the laws of physics. We're just showing they were poorly written. And there's some people who spend a whole lot of money studying those laws of physics to take exception to that.
Right.
Yeah, they paid a lot of money for that tuition and that degree that tells them, the brick wall is built this way. And when you come along and tell them, no, actually the brick wall is built a different way, they have issues with that.
Yeah. And so I have a question for you. I heard that. Are you a believer?
In what?
In God and Jesus.
I'm curious as to why that's a relevant question. Well,
I am. And some people wonder, like, after all that graphene and all that science, how could you believe that God exists? And I say about that gospel music, what we've measured is people who don't believe in God, when they hear the gospel music, and even if they were to sing it, the words do not create the same outcome. And then what happens when you measure that, you say, well, the gospel music didn't work at all because that person didn't respond to it the same way. It's not consistent. Yeah, why is that?
They found the part of the brain that responds to what we call the spiritual.
Wow.
People will die.
Whoa, slow down. Whoa. My IQ just kind of went up a little bit. Just a little bit, about quarter of an inch went up. There is a space in our brain that is called the spiritual.
No. There's a space in your brain that's responsible.
Oh, it went down. It went down. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, mine went back down. Okay.
Yeah. There's and it's right about here. That's responsible for your spiritual experiences through a number of tests and research done over years. But people will die for what they believe in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but they'd much rather you die for what they believe in.
Country and flag, burn oil.
Or whatever else. Some of them will worship a polka dot flag and a three-eyed goat. But at the end of the day, they'll all kill you for it. So the discussion of religion is one where you don't tamper with that.
Yeah, you don't mess with religion.
So we go back to believers who those who believe have a response to a song like Amazing Grace, gospel music. That's not peculiar at all. You're saying that makes a lot of sense to you.
Well, there's reasons why. There's physiological reasons why. There are. And it's not that surprising. The species is a believing animal. Its behavior is predicated on what it believes to be true. This is true for most animals.
But let me ask you a question, though. Okay, so is it based really on the knowledge or what is it called? Sync. Like if your mom drinks Folgers coffee and you got Folgers coffee in the house, then you're more likely susceptible to buy Folgers coffee. You know what I mean? Is it like a chameleon type thing that happens that turns into like this ironclad thing that now you believe in, or is it something that we actually stand on our own 2 feet and say this is what I believe in? So that's kind of like what, because I see a lot of people, you know, oh, I'm Christian, I'm going to be baptized and be Christian, and I'm Christian, and I'm like this, and then later on they say, no, I'm not Christian, I'm spiritual. Then they say, no, I'm not this, I'm that, blah, blah, blah. And so they say, okay, my family went to Morehouse, so I'm going to go to Morehouse, maybe more. You know, so is it really based upon our own independent idea, or is it based on a chameleon synergy that happens because we want to show empathy to other people that we live with or something like that?
It is based on a confusion that's caused by the collision of the difference between the what that we are and the who we're trying to be.
Wow. Say that one more time. You got that goes into a biblical sense right there. Say that one more time for everybody to know. I want you to say that slow and loud so everybody can hear it.
What you see many times in people's behavior is a ramification of the collision between the what that we are and the who we're trying to be. There's a lot of your behavior patterns predicated on you being a human being, not trying to be a Christian. And if you can't differentiate the difference between what you are and who you're trying to be, then you're going to be confused. Just like if I ask you 2 + 3 = 5, do you know that, or do you believe that? And do you know the difference?
Ooh, bring me back. Okay, we need to collect collections. Everybody with Zelle, where we gotta go. Put the money in the plate, because that was some serious. You have to know who you are, whose you are, and who you are to be. This is serious. This goes into this goes into the character of time. If you want to be successful in anything you do, you have to stand in who you are, as opposed to who people think you are. Right?
And
if you want to be successful.
And that statement is followed on by the statement of who you are is predicated on your ability to be both trustworthy, honest, and respectful to yourself. Because if you're not trustworthy and honest, if you're not trustworthy and honest and respectful of yourself, there's no way you can be trustworthy for me, or honest with me, or respectful of me either. The most important relationship you have.
Now that's the aha moment. That's the aha moment, because a lot of people don't know when they're telling a lie and when they're telling the truth, because they're predicating their information on something else that was a lie.
And you know,
lying to themselves.
This is why God created libraries. Yeah, people forgot about libraries, and the reason why they're here is because you're right. Some person can see it this way, and some people can see it that way. We needed to have some sort of a neutral reference point that we could establish as a fact that we could use, that we could all agree on, and we needed a place to store these that they were easily accessible, so the discussions and debates and conversations would have reference points on the facts at hand. This is what you needed to have in order to create the syllogisms you needed upon which to establish your foundation, upon which you wanted to pontificate your argument.
Well, this is the problem right here. Everybody's brain is fried.
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, most of them are, yeah.
Everybody's brain is fried. Radio waves, microwave, brainwave, relationship wave. Everybody's brain is fried. So they don't go to the library. They don't look in the books. They only look at the computer, which is burning their eyes. They're going to wear glasses or go blind. You know, they're putting radio frequencies next to their coochies and the doo-doos and the this and the that they can't have babies. They can't have, you know, they can't eat right. They can't sleep right. They can't talk right. They can't walk right. They can't, you know. So, wow.
Most professors will tell you,
I am going offline for a week.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Most professors will tell you most of that stuff is done at the 9th grade level. The challenge is most people aren't smarter than a 5th grader.
Yeah, well, you know, don't tell everybody that. That's, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they had a TV show that was based on that, and you know, they had to take it off the air because them 5th graders was going crazy.
Yeah, you can't tell everybody that, dude. We're likely to go off the air and never come back.
Well, that's how Donald Trump.
Look, like Dr. Strange says, don't believe nothing that we say. Just go online and look it up, or go to the library and go find it yourself. Don't believe anything.
You want to look? Do you want to know some weird stuff? No, why it's Dr. Strange. The 3rd line of Amazing Grace, right? When it says that saved a wretch like me. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. If you tell a non-believer, someone who doesn't know, said, why am I a wretch? Why am I a wretch? And then the towards the end, I once was lost, but I'm now found. A non-believer would say, I'm never lost. I don't need to be found. Right? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, here we go.
Those
Oh,
Save the wretch like me.
Yeah.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Once blind, but now I see.
Oh yeah, this is great. This is great. You
Somebody
sang.
make
I don't know
this
where
is
that
great.
came from
Wow.
because I actually can't sing. Like I said, I don't sing in public. Now you see why.
This is Area 52. You're not public.
There you go. 52C.
Yeah, that's right. 52.
Well, it's okay. We all on our own planet, so we'll be fine.
We talked about
I'll
different
come see
colored
you.
rabbits. What did you do for 45 minutes tonight? We talked about different colored rabbits. The different rabbits, some of them in their ears, other ones around here, but it's all fried our brains. Right?
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
look,
Thank you for
so
tonight.
so
This is
to
very
so
powerful.
to so to wrap up to wrap this all up and put it into one sentence, that we all can agree on is we really
Use
don't know.
speakerphone. Use speakerphone. Yeah, the more you use your speakerphone, the further you can keep your phone away from your head.
You know what? And you know it's funny. I looked at my niece, and you know these young kids, they're really really smart because they actually read. I went to a grocery market, and I was on the aisle, and I'm just buying, you know, whatever, and the kid picked up the box and he turned it around to read the ingredients. I've never done that as a child. And I'm talking about a child. I'm talking about like
Isn't that
10,
something?
11 years old, not even 13. I'm reading. I want to read what's in the bag. Oh, it has this and that, nitro something, and saturated this, and glucose this, and oh, I don't want to buy this. I was like, well, damn, let me read what am I doing? Let me turn this around. I don't know what any of these words are. He probably went home, looked them up, you know what I mean, so that he know what he's eating. So they
What
say
what you're experiencing,
what you put in is what you put out.
You're experiencing a manifestation of one of the problems we have in our culture. It was best said by George Bush, who said the most important thing any president has ever said when he said the biggest threat to national security is the erosion of family values. And what we've seen over the last two generations is parenting has been a lost art. And parents have dropped the ball for the last two generations. So yeah, it's not surprising that you would see a child who's actually being parented who stands out. Okay,
Yeah.
this kid actually reads stuff. Wow, he's got a parent, probably has parents at home, whereas so many
I bet
kids
you
have.
he's not on the cell phone.
And
I bet
that's,
you he's
you
not
know,
on the cell phone.
But what I found is that
He's
for
not
the
on
kids
the
that we
cell phone.
mentor, the kids that do spend the least amount of time on the cell phone do have the best grades.
Wow.
All
I don't know
right.
why I'm on this damn thing. You know, I remember
Yeah,
when
but it's
you know
really
when the
predicated
first
it's predicated more on self-discipline than on the phone access, where these kids that are able to turn the phone off also have the self-discipline to be able to sit down and do their studies every night.
right.
By the way, that
So let
thing
me
is
ask you
not a
another
phone.
question. I want to get to
so
the
powerful,
anatomy,
it's not a phone anymore.
the DNA of this thing.
Hmm.
The DNA of this thing. Now, I know that waves can cause problems with reproduction. Where does that go? And I mean, we're not trying to be like, you know, medical doctors or anything like that. Just based on our own experiences. I know sometimes I'm on the freeway, and I'll just put
Mhm.
my phone in my lap, right? And all of a sudden it gets really hot down there, and I realize that I got my phone down there and I move it, you know.
Mhm.
And a lot of times my ear, I put it on my ear and it gets really hot and I got to take it down. I've had my phone actually pop, like pop, you know, like on my ear. And I had to go
Right.
back to the carrier and say, hey, look, my phone is popping. Something's going on. You know, it's electricity is hitting my ear, you know. I've had it to where my ear actually started hurting because I had the phone on it for so long. That's why I got this little earbud thing in my ear now. You know, and maybe it's a smaller radio frequency wave or something, but you know, sometimes this gets a little bit, you know, I get a little perturbed by this too. So like
It's closer.
yeah, what can you said talk on the speakerphone, right?
It's further away from your head.
I sleep with my phone. I sleep with my phone in the bed sometimes. Is that
Your
good?
head on
Is that
top of your
bad?
phone?
Is that okay? No.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
just
All
I sleep
right.
with it in my bed, and I know a lot of people just wake up and they go straight to the phone, Instagram, maybe MySpace, this, you know. So what is it? What is a how can I say? How can I turn a good routine into a habit into into our lifestyle.
The routine you want to try to make or condition yourself to do is whenever you can go on speakerphone, you should. That will reduce your exposure.
Yeah.
Because no, you're probably not going to be able to eliminate your exposure. So you have to be realistic about it and see if you can reduce it by using your speakerphone as much as practical. Not as much as possible, as much as practical.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: on a cell phone, and you may know, you may not know, what is the radio? How far does this radio wave reach in my house? Like I'm here, right? So is it still
3 mile football fields?
Cell phones don't actually transmit that far. It's about 1,000 yards. The battery inside the cell phones dictates its transmission range, and the battery just isn't that, but doesn't have the power to transmit that far, an intelligible signal. This is why you have cell phone towers every 2,000 yards. You'll find a cell phone tower. That way your phone can always log into one.
Okay, but I shouldn't sleep. I shouldn't sleep with it in my bed.
Very far. 1,000 yards is a lot. A football field is under 20 yards. So think about how far a
yeah. So we beam me up.
1,000 yards is short, just shy of a mile. But yeah, in fact, I have software on my phone that will actually identify which cell phone towers I'm logged into, and usually you're logged into 2 towers.
Wow.
Yeah, right. That's one of the reasons why.
How the police found me last night.
When you transfer from one tower to the next one, that's why it's such a seamless transition, because your phone was already logged into that tower.
Wow. It's funny. I'm going back to that. I was my phone wasn't working, so I called Verizon, and they said, "Oh, we see you're not registered to the towers." I was like, "Well, wasn't that done when they turned my phone on?" She said, "Oh no, they had to register your phone to the tower so that in your area, so that you can use your phone in your area." Because I wasn't getting the 5G or the 4G thing. I was just getting LGT or whatever, LGC or whatever it is. So they said you got to register it to the tower.
The short answer: don't do 5G just yet.
Oh.
There's too many different kinds of 5G. There's different kinds of 5G applications. The type of cell towers that you use may be of a different type of 5G than your phone can make use of.
Oh, wow. I wish I would have known that before I spent $1,000 on a damn phone.
Yeah, it's more complicated than it appears, and there's more than one kind of 5G. And if you buy the wrong kind of 5G phone for where you live, your 5G is useless, and you're on a depleted 4G service when your 5G doesn't work right.
So, we need a collection plate. We need a collection plate.
And so there's research before you buy a 5G phone.
Ebony, we need a Ebony, come in. Ebony, can you come in? Our producers, she's somewhere in here. Can you come in for a quick second?
She should be cutting us off by now.
My connection is horrible right now, so I apologize. But right now, our collection is like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, well, we need to make a cash app. We need to make a cash app because some of these nuggets over here is serious nuggets. So we need to cash out. All donations are accepted so that we can bless our guests that come with the serious knowledge.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. To have Dr. Philosophical Aeronautical Sciences, Dr. Theodore James, Master Dr. Grand Couvé, whatever you want to say it, theologian to the stars, to have him on here. This is ridiculous. This is insane. My hair, it's not moving anymore.
Can you share what app it is? Can we all download that, or can we all have access to it, or is it an app, or is it, you said software, so we can? For
which one? There's one for tracking your electromagnetic spectrum.
The cell towers or something, right?
Yeah.
Tracking your electromagnetic spectrum. They're all good, right? Send them over.
I have one called ElectroSmart. For tracking electromagnetic exposure where you are. It also gives some tips on how to address it, some of the symptoms of being exposed to it. It gives you some helpful tips on how to respond to it.
So you just type in ElectroSmart, and then on the phone, on the App Store, and they will see it says free EMF detector.
There you go.
There you go. Right here, free EMF detector. 4.5 star review, right? So you got to download that tonight, and you got to use that. All right.
Okay. And
I'm gonna let y'all download that because I'm probably gonna be paranoid, and I would probably never talk to y'all again. I would be sending you letters by mail, like USPS. Probably gonna let y'all do that. I already have the system that, but it tells me how many people died, and how many people go to jail, how many people got get fired, how many people get robbed, how many people get stabbed. I'm already nervous to walk out the door. So if I download this thing, I'm gonna be in paranoia. I'll give you the answer next week.
Right.
See how I
this
look
is-
normal now because I've been good. I haven't been talking about anything anymore. This is good. We bring other people on the show on the outlier spectrum, and you start to see like, oh, Dr. Chu is very normal. Right.
thought
Well,
you were
the
always
thing, so
normal, Dr.
so
Wholesome.
now the
Yeah.
question I have
Right.
is now the question I
Yeah.
have is kids,
still have
right?
questions?
Babies, like toddlers,
Mhm.
toddlers,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mm.
And you have all these frequencies in the car, and everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody has what is it called, iPad. Everybody has their little speed with the little headphone things and all that stuff. Does that affect the mind of those kids? Even just being exposed, like smoking, and the what is it called, secondhand smoke is even bad. But how is it affecting the kids as they're growing up, and it develops into something, or are they okay? If mom and dad's got
We're
a cell
developing
phone
to
and they're
nothing,
watching,
right?
they're watching
Yeah,
that
what
little
happens?
monitor in the back of the seat. Does that all still play into their psyche, or are they okay? Or what do we do to reduce that for them? Because I have a little one, and she's like not even 2 years old.
In
You need a
science,
lead house.
in science, in science, you need to be prepared for the fact that your question may not have an answer.
Hmm.
You may be prepared for the fact that your answer may not be knowable. And when you're dealing with a scenario with this many variables in it, is how much exposure can an individual child take under what kind of circumstances, with what kind of phone, for what kind of exposure rate, under what kind of conditions. There's too many variables to give you a concrete answer or a sliding graph or some type of chart that you can use to say, no, your kid needs to turn this phone off in 3 minutes. That type of data just isn't available, and it's not obtainable. The part of the challenge is, like I said before, it's more complicated. There's at least 3 different radios with six different radios. You got 3 transmitters and 3 receivers, creating 3 transceivers, both in the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular spectrum. Some cell phones have additional ones as well. And in order to get you an accurate assessment of what happens when you turn on your cell phone, you have to be able to measure all 3 of those and measure the propinquity to all 3 of those and the rate of use and the average this and the average that for kids this age, that age. And oh my God, there's such too many variables in that equation to give you a tangible answer as to whether your phone should be on or off when your kid's driving down the highway.
And because it's bouncing off it's bouncing off at different towers, right?
I got to
As you
add
go,
this
it's
in here.
bouncing.
Now I got to ask you, knowing all of those variables and too many questions, no answers, how do you know that we should use the speakerphone on the phone? How do you know?
Because when you play chess, it teaches you some things.
So there you go. See?
One of the things that I've learned is that when you have a scenario that's as convoluted as that, one of the great things about the dang thing is it runs on electricity. So unplug it.
Right. I'm unplugging everything in the house.
And it goes on. Okay, so with this
Unplugging.
scenario here, remove the problem. Again, it's about propinquity. The distance between you and the transmission source is what the key is. So in order to resolve the issue, you add propinquity between your brain and the transmission source. So in other words, you hold the phone as far away from your head as you can. So that's when you use your speakerphone. And that's what's called physical, what's it called? Subjective, as well as there's a word for it. Yeah, but yeah, it's propinquity is the key. So it would make rational sense. In fact, even the sensors that we have in the software program that measures EM interference says, yeah, if you want to reduce your exposure, increase your distance between you and the transmission source. So it just stands to reason that if I move my phone over here, I'm not going to get as much exposure as I get if my phone is right here.
Right.
So yeah, use the speakerphone as much as you can. It's the only practical answer you can give, because the other answer is too convoluted, too complicated, and probably not very reliable.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Wait, coming back. Okay, here I am. So I have one last question.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Okay.
We just wanted to,
Give me.
to put highlight on Theodore and his.
And his what?
He's everything.
Yeah,
everything.
I don't know what's going on with my connection today. But
I could explain it.
I'm dying. I was dead.
I could explain it, but it would take too long.
I know.
I was
right?
dead for a minute. So let me sum this. Let me ask you one last question because we got 5 minutes, and then I want to make sure that we get all the information. Why am I going in and out? What is this? Who is this? Who is this person? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay,
It has
I'm
a lot
back.
to do with.
Am I back?
Well,
wait, let me see. Wait, let me do this.
yeah, sort of.
Okay, well, maybe that did it. Okay, got reset. So I want to make sure that this is the last question. Radio waves, I feel, and then that spiritual piece up here causes people to do stupid stuff, right? You can either be great or you could be stupid. No, seriously. Is there volatile waves that create a frequency in your brain that causes you to be more erratic, more violent, more what is it called, more volatile? And then
angry.
sometimes there's more angry. There is a such thing, right?
Well, what you're talking about is chemical changes in your brain, where there are certain
Yeah.
chemical
So does that
combinations
affect?
that
Does that
represent
affect?
anger.
Does the frequency affect the chemical imbalance in the balance in your brain too? Does that work hand in hand?
There's no conclusive evidence that shows that that this does that, but we do know that the chemical configuration in your brain is what determines your emotional state,
Right.
and whether the chemical configuration is created or impacted by radio waves. I'm not finding any tangible evidence that can support that.
Okay. All right. So when they say they put this frequency on and everybody's going to die, like they do in those movies.
There are people who write movies to sell tickets, and they'll tell you all kinds of stuff that sounds fascinating. Okay, and when they started this whole Harry Potter and witches and goblins and warlocks and stuff, I told people that that can't end well. People belief structures are easy to tamper with, and the problem
Right.
is that this country is predicated on the word trust, and that's the reason why it's
Right.
on all of our money. And if you undermine
Right.
people's trust, all the things that we enjoy in this country, the freedoms that we enjoy, are predicated on us all trusting that our government functions the way we expect it to trust, or what expect it to function. If that trust disappears, so does our standard of living.
Right.
And this
Wow,
is what
man,
they're talking. People don't seem to grasp the connection between being politically stupid and having a job tomorrow. These folks are talking about doing a civil war. They don't seem to realize that New York City can't survive by itself. You've got 9 million people on an island, and there's just not
Right.
enough food on an island to feed them for more than the next 5 hours. This is
Right.
why there has to be a network, a supply chain that brings an ongoing supply of food to New York City. The kick thing about it is most of that meat is coming from Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. So if we have a civil war, they start trying to divide the country up into sections like that, they're going to find out real fast that the food stops when you cut off Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. There's no more beef coming in. The chocolate comes from Pennsylvania. Okay, there's parts of this country that if you cut it off, there's things that just aren't going to happen. So the whole discussion of civil war behind a stupid political position, oh my God, I could go on all day about that one, but we only got a few minutes left.
So, okay, so we got to do a part 2 on this conversation. So we're going to actually have you back if we can have you back. I know you're busy and you got your spaceship and you're headed out, to another galactic place. I know that, but we would love to have you back on the show to talk more about this topic. I think this is a huge topic in regards to family and how we need to kind of position our lives, educatedly, if that's a word, but educating ourselves on this topic is big. We thought this was just going to be like a quick little thing, but this really isn't, because there's so many different variables that we kind of just touched on, So, ladies and gentlemen,
three P words tonight. You got propinquity, you got predicated, and you got pneumatics with a PN, right? Theodore, these 3 P words.
The parent term is neutralics is the parent term.
Yes, neutralics, but it has a P though. So
right.
P silent. P silent. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Neutralics is combining hydraulics with pneumatics, and so that's just very, very powerful.
So now, okay, so we can open the floor for like 1 minute to see if there was any questions or any comments.
That's right.
Let's see. In perspective, yeah. So I think you can find. Where can we find you, Brother Theodore? Where can we find you on your social platforms if somebody wanted to talk to you about anything?
My email is theojam@aol.com. My website is Leandrous, LEANDROUS.com and .org. I have a for-profit and a nonprofit. My
Nice.
for-profit is introducing the future, and my nonprofit is deploying the future.
Well, I hope to be there when you deploy it, just in case this place goes to shit, to, the hell of high water. I'll be right there next to you on a jet, wherever I'm at. Funkenstein will be there, baby. I'll be bringing the funk.
We'll be looking for some donations. We're looking for sponsors for some of our programs, and there's our vision statement, our mission statement, and for those who are interested, please give us a call.
You're based in Cincinnati.
We sure are.
Yeah.
Right in the Ohio Valley, right here at the peak of the Ohio River.
You know where to find it. If all hell breaks loose, we know we got to go to Ohio.
Yeah,
I'm going under the water. I got a funkin' ship that goes right under the water. Don't even worry about pressure. Nothing. I'm going right down.
We might as well go ahead and have us a show on the city of Cincinnati, because I got some things to say about this place.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
that's for another show.
Brother James, we appreciate you, man, and we got to wrap it up. We definitely want to have you back with another show, another chance. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up
for Brother James to come to Pittston, Pennsylvania, where you're going to have that shop, right? He's not far from there. Ohio and Pennsylvania is not far at all.
Well, we'll have to load up the rocket ships and go out and hit Pittston, Pennsylvania, and have a cup of coffee, and then take our linear jets and fly right on out, But
ask me to explain how my technology makes that happen for free.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We got to do that other show, right? With him, his energy, the energy,
right?
We'll
talk about
you're trying to bring my IQ up, but it's just not working right now because I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck. I'm sitting in a fryer. I'm still stuck right now. So give me a few minutes. And let me deal with that right then, and then we can talk about free air travel. I'm way woo. You see the hair? You see the hair? It's fried right now. It's fried. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much. You can find them on all the social platforms. One more time. Give them to him one more time. If Ebony can push them back up. One more time. All right. There it is.
There you go. THEOJAM at AOL.com, Leandrous.com, Leandrous.com and Leandrous.org. My two
next
websites.
show, we got to ask you, why is it called Leandrous? Then we can.
The question is, I love my middle name is Leandrous.
Oh.
It was also my grandfather's middle name, as well as his father's middle name. It's also my son's middle name. So when I looked it up to find out what it was, Google asked me if I spelled it right.
Oh my God. Incredible.
So yeah, it's a unique name that
intelligent, innovative, empathetic, generous, sagacious, trustworthy, dedicated, service-connected, disabled Air Force veteran. That's what Leandrous now stands for. DOD 312.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Spoken by me for you. So
Thank you.
Better. Yes, that's right.
Appreciate the
ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Brother Theodore James for coming and spilling the nuggets. Make sure that you follow him on all social platforms. Make sure if you got some nuggets to give to him, go ahead and drop it on that platform so you can donate some money to get these things out into the world that needs to be out here. All right, we love you, brother. You take care of yourself. God bless you, and stay safe. And may the phone be with you.
Take care now. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
That was